All right, let's talk a little bit about figured bass here and talk about some simple harmonization. Okay, so what is figured bass? Well, back in the Baroque era, often accompanists or harmonic players, lute players, or basso continuo players of any sort, it could be a harpsichordist or a lute player, would usually have to realize some bass based on what we would call figures or bass position symbols. Now, you don't have any figures here, and you will in the minor key, but you don't have any figures here. So if there's no figures on any of the notes, we're going to assume that they are in root position. So for all of these notes inside the key of B flat major, we're going to assume that each of these is the root of a chord. When we get over to inversions, we're going to start seeing 6 and 6/4 below some of these notes like this, and even sometimes 7s. And that will indicate types of inversions. We will get to that a little later down the line, but for right now, when you do these figured bass examples as they're written, really we're just going to be writing all of these chords in root position. So if F is the lowest note in the key of B flat major, we know this is a 5 chord, B flat would be 1, G would be 6, C would be 2, F would be 5, 6, 5, and 1 here. And we can see some circle of fifths progressions, 2, 6, 2, 5, and then 5, 1 here at the end. And this is what it sounds like. And then so you might go in and fill it in. Okay, so something you might not know. This is the key of F sharp. Notice where it begins and where it ends. And then here's the other thing. The sharps in here are going to be a big clue to you because this is our leading tone. If you have a key that looks like A major, but then features these accidentals of E sharp, that's immediately going to tell you that you're in a minor key, or the relative minor in this case. Okay, so F sharp minor here. Here's the other thing that we haven't seen before. Look in the bass there, in your figures, right, as we'll call them. You see some sharps below the key. Here they are right here. You're probably going, what does that indicate? This indicates to raise whatever is a third above the bass. Okay, and the sharp really indicates sharping, that is. So we're going to be raising this note right here, and you can see it's already raised here. But we also need to include a sharp here, right, as well. Now, why would they do that? Well, this is our leading tone, and each of the C sharps below represent our 5 chord. Remember, with figured bass, if there's no figures, we're going to read it as it's in root position. So 1, and this would be a major 7 based on te, major 3, minor 4. Again, we're all in minor keys. Then we see a 5 chord, and a major 6 chord, a minor 5 chord, a minor 4 chord, and finally 1 here. Again, whatever's written in the bass, right? Determine the key, whatever's written in the bass, it's that the chord's based on that scale degree, and you'll just write the rest of it out. Okay, good. So, and then finally, let's talk a little bit about harmonizing something. So you're going to be doing a couple of these examples, and these are kind of fun, I think. You have to actually harmonize a melody. Now, you can go ahead and use that circle of fifths progression that we talked about before. And we're going to harmonize, let's do the second one here. We'll just do the first one. This is soprano, alto, bass. Typically speaking, we're always going to end with that, let me go down an octave here, that 2, 5, 1, right? So we want to end with a 1 chord here at the end and a 5 chord. And we just check our melody notes. And, you know, it's useful to write in what your chords are above. And usually we'll approach it with a 2. It's not always possible to get a 2 chord there at the end. And as you can see here, that really won't be possible here. So if we want to say, okay, what could be on this note, we could also do an F here, a 1 chord. That would work. I like to start at the end to show the final progression. Usually it's going to be 5 and 1 because that's really where we want to aim. But if you want, you can go back to the beginning and start writing from there. So again, 1 chord here. And what's the possible chords we could use for G? Well, we could use a 2 chord. We could use a 5 chord, right? What are all the different possibilities? Let's use 5 here. And what about F? Let's go back to 1. And I might be writing this a little too close. And we'll go back to 5, hold 5 for 2 beats, and then go back to 1. And then let's do something a little different. Let's go to a 4 chord, and then we can go to a 1 chord again, and then we would be done. 1, 5, 1, 5, 1. And then 4, 1, 5, 1. So keep it real simple. Keep that diagram with you. Keep all of those predominant, dominant harmonies as your main harmonies. Again, this was what it would sound like. And you can hear it's very, very, very simple. Don't try to go way, way out there. I would say the most important thing you want to focus on is getting that predominant, dominant tonic progression at the end, and then you can zoom forward and figure out what to put in. But I would say use that diagram to help you to map out what your harmonies might be. Follow the typical progression. Again, you can move outside of that, but I would try to stay in the realm. That's all for right now.